Darkness covered the ruins of old Earth. The stars above were quiet, cold, and distant. A soft hum broke the silence as a ship entered the planet's orbit, sleek, silver, and scarred from 1,000 battles. It was the Dauntless, one of the first human ships to return to Earth after 300 years. Inside, the crew stared at the burned, broken world below. Once it had been their home. Now, it looked like a ghost planet. Captain Mira Lorne stood on the bridge, eyes hard but full of emotion. She was the first human born beyond Earth to ever see it in person. Around her, the crew whispered to each other, voices full of fear and awe. "Sensors show no active life," said Lieutenant Havel, scanning the surface. "Radiation levels stable, atmosphere breathable." He turned to her. "Captain, it's safe." Mira's fingers tightened around the command chair. "Prepare landing," she said quietly. "We're going home." The ship descended through dusty clouds, shaking as it pierced the atmosphere. Lightning flickered, revealing vast skeletons of cities. Towers crumbled, highways split open like dry veins. The old human world was dead. Yet as the ship landed near what had once been New York City, something stirred in the ruins, a pulse of light deep underground. No one noticed. When the landing doors opened, the crew stepped out in silence. Their boots crunched on blackened earth. The air smelled faintly of metal and ash. Trees were gone. Oceans had dried into salt plains, yet the sky was still blue, faintly, as if remembering what it used to be. "This place," whispered Lieutenant Havel. "It feels wrong." Mira nodded. "It feels asleep." They spread out, scanning for remnants of technology or civilization. Human records had said Earth was abandoned after the War of the Shattered Suns, when alien forces bombarded it into silence. The survivors had fled to colonies far beyond the stars, swearing never to return. But something had changed. Strange signals had been detected from Earth, signals that spoke in human code. That was why the Dauntless had come back. As the team explored, one of the soldiers, Jiro, called out, "Captain, you'll want to see this!" Mira and the others ran to him. Jiro stood before a large metal door built into the ground. It wasn't ancient. It was new. Clean metal glowing edges. It hummed faintly with power. "Impossible," said Havel. "This tech isn't from before the war." Mira looked closer. "Someone's been here." The door opened with a hiss. A rush of warm air escaped. The soldiers aimed their rifles, but inside was only darkness. Mira took a flashlight and stepped in. What she saw made her stop breathing. Rows of human figures lay in glass pods, hundreds of them, glowing faint blue. They looked alive. "Cryo chambers," said Havel, checking his scanner. "All active." "But the design. I've never seen anything like it." Suddenly one of the pods flickered. Then another. The sound of machinery filled the chamber, slow and deep, like something awakening after a long sleep. Mira shouted, "Everyone back!" But it was too late. The first pod opened, mist poured out, and a tall man stepped forward, barefoot, pale, his eyes glowing faintly gold. He looked around, confused, then locked eyes with Mira. "You came back," he said softly, his voice strange, powerful. "We waited." The crew froze. The man smiled faintly. "We are the ones who stayed, the ones who were changed." Before Mira could ask what he meant, the other pods began to open. Dozens of figures stepped out, men and women, but not quite human anymore. Their bodies were strong, perfect, glowing faintly with energy. The air vibrated around them. The soldiers aimed their weapons in panic. "Stand down!" Mira shouted. "We're not here to fight!" The golden-eyed man tilted his head. "Fight? No, you could not fight us." He raised a hand, and the soldiers' weapons bent and fell apart like soft metal. Gasps filled the air. "We have become what you left behind," he said. "We are Earth now," Mira's heart pounded. These were humans once, but something had changed them. "Who are you?" she whispered. The man smiled again, sad and calm. "We are the children of Earth. The planet remade us to survive. The radiation, the storms, the silence, it made us strong. We were forgotten, but we did not die. We evolved." The crew stepped back in disbelief. The man's eyes glowed brighter. "You came from the stars," he said. You think you have conquered worlds, but you left this one broken. Now it has conquered us. We are stronger than any star-born human could imagine. Outside, the ground trembled. The ruins shook as faint blue light began to rise from beneath the soil, spreading through the city like veins of fire. The air shimmered. From the wreckage of buildings, shapes began to form, machines of stone and light, half organic, half metal, all alive. The earth itself seemed to awaken. Mira's voice was quiet. "What do you want from us?" The man looked at her with eyes full of pity. "To remind you what you are," he said. "To remind the stars that Earth is not dead. You left us, but we remember. And we are coming." The ship's alarms blared suddenly. Havel's voice shouted through the comms. "Captain! Massive energy surge below us! It's spreading across the planet." Mira turned toward the glowing figures. "Stop this!" she cried. "You'll destroy everything!" The man only shook his head. "No, we will make it whole." And then the world roared. A blinding wave of energy swept across the land, tearing through ruins and mountains alike. The crew ran for their ship as the earth itself pulsed with power, its heartbeat returning after centuries of silence. The Dauntless lifted off just in time to see something impossible, vast lights forming across the continents, shaping themselves into something that looked almost human. The planet was alive. Above the chaos, Mira stared down in horror and wonder. "They're too strong," she whispered. "We can't stop them." The golden-eyed man's voice echoed faintly through the comms. "No one can, but perhaps you can learn again." The story of humanity's return had just begun. The Dauntless floated above the burning sky. The planet below was alive with light, lines of blue energy running through old cities like glowing rivers. It looked beautiful and terrible at the same time. Captain Mira stood on the bridge, her hands shaking slightly as she watched the sensors flare red. "Report!" she ordered. Lieutenant Havel stared at his screen. "It's everywhere, Captain. The energy network, it's spreading through the planet's crust. Whatever they activated, it's rewriting the surface." His voice dropped. Like the planet's waking up, the ship trembled. The engines strained as the shockwaves hit. Outside, lightning storms began to form, spirals of white and blue, controlled, almost intelligent. Mira clenched her jaw. "Get us higher! I want to see everything!" The ship rose, cutting through thick clouds. From orbit, the crew saw what Earth had become. The continents glowed with strange geometric shapes, massive circuits stretching for thousands of kilometers. Oceans boiled and then reformed as vapor and light. Mountains cracked open, releasing glowing mist that looked almost alive. Jiro whispered, "It's building something." Mira turned to him. "Building what?" Before anyone could answer, the communication systems crackled. A voice came through. The same golden-eyed man they had seen underground. "Captain Mira," he said calmly. "You run from your home again." Mira froze. "Who are you?" "I am what remains of humanity. I am the Earth's memory." His tone was soft but cold. "You left, but we stayed. The planet took us in, made us strong, made us one. We are what you were meant to be. Whatever you are," Mira said, "you're going to destroy everything." "Destroy?" The man's voice almost laughed. "We are healing. Earth has been sleeping, broken by the stars' wars. But now, with your return, we awaken. Your ships carry what we need. Genetic codes, energy, thought. You have brought us what we were missing." Havel's eyes widened. "Captain, he's accessing our systems." The ship lights flickered. Data screens filled with strange symbols. Jiro rushed to shut down the network. "He's in the ship." "Cut power to communications," Mira snapped. Now, the lights dimmed. The connection broke. For a few seconds, there was only silence. Then the engines roared back to life. Havel looked pale. He got inside. Just for a moment. But he learned everything about us. Our tech, our weapons, our people. Mira stared at the dark planet below. "They know us better than we know them." For hours, the crew tried to regroup. They discussed options, return to orbit, send a message to the colonies, maybe even escape. But every idea died the same way, fear. The Dauntless was alone. Communication with the colonies was impossible from Earth's interference. And something was happening down there. "Something fast, Captain," said Havel quietly. "The energy readings, They're forming structures. I think they're cities. On the main screen, images appeared, vast glowing towers rising from the ruins of the old world. They grew from the ground like crystal, shaped by light and energy. Huge shapes moved between them, beings of stone and flesh. The new children of Earth, Jiro whispered. They're rebuilding civilization in hours. They're becoming gods, Havel said softly. Mira didn't answer. She kept staring at the world below, her heart heavy. She thought about the people she had seen in the pods, their calm, golden eyes, their power. They had been human once. What would it mean if humanity had truly been replaced? Captain, Jiro said suddenly, there's movement below, fast. Multiple contacts rising through the atmosphere. Movement below, fast. Multiple contacts rising through the atmosphere. On the radar, bright dots appeared, hundreds of them climbing fast. The ship's alarms blared. They're coming, Havel said. Shields up, Mira shouted. Full power to engines! Outside, the sky burst open. Shapes emerged from the glowing clouds, sleek, wingless forms of light and metal, like living ships. They moved with terrifying speed, surrounding the Dauntless. Open a channel, Mira ordered. Static filled the bridge. Then the golden-eyed man's voice returned. Do not fear. We only wish to understand. You carry our history. Mira's voice was cold. And if we refuse, then you will be unmade. Like all things that resist the earth. A pulse of blue light struck the Dauntless. The shields flared, screaming with energy. Alarms exploded across the bridge. Shields down to 60%, Havel yelled. Evasive maneuvers, Mira shouted. The ship rolled sharply, dodging beams of light. The enemy ships moved like thoughts, too fast, too perfect. Jiro's hands flew over the controls. They're not trying to kill us, they're scanning us. Mira gritted her teeth. They want our memories. Outside, one of the glowing ships drew close, hovering right in front of the bridge. It looked almost human-shaped, with a glowing face and calm, empty eyes. Through the glass, it seemed to be watching them. Then, in a voice that wasn't from any speaker, it spoke directly into their minds. You left us to die, but the earth remembered. Now we remember you. Everyone froze. Mira felt the voice inside her skull, deep, ancient, full of sadness and anger. Captain, Havel said quietly, if they can reach our minds, we can't fight them. Mira stood still for a long moment. Then she said, we can't fight them with power, but maybe with truth. She looked out the window, straight into the glowing eyes of the ship. You say you remember, she said softly. Then remember this. Humanity didn't abandon Earth. Earth abandoned us. The planet was dying. We left to survive. For a second, everything went still. The lights outside flickered. The ships paused. Then softly the voice replied, we were dying too, but we changed. That is what you feared. Mira's heart pounded. If you've changed so much, what do you want from us? The voice grew colder. To bring the stars home. The glowing ships began to rise, vanishing into orbit. The crew stared after them in silence. Jiro spoke first. What does that mean? Mira looked down at the earth, now glowing like a living thing. It means they're not just rebuilding, she said quietly. They're coming for the colonies. Far below, the planet pulsed once more, a heartbeat of power that echoed into the stars. Humanity had returned home, but something far greater had awakened. The children of Earth were no longer waiting. They were rising. The stars burned cold and far as the Dauntless drifted above Earth's glowing storms. The crew worked in silence, haunted by what they had seen. Humans who were not quite human, a world that breathed again, and the golden-eyed being who spoke with the voice of a god. Captain Mira stood at the command deck, staring down at the planet. How long until we can jump? She asked quietly. Lieutenant Havel checked the controls. Not soon enough. The planet's energy field is messing with our drives. It's like the gravity itself doesn't want us to leave. Mira's hand tightened around the rail. Keep trying. I want out of orbit before those things decide to follow us. Jiro turned from his console. Captain. They already are. Everyone looked up. Outside the viewing glass, streaks of blue light rose from the planet like spears of lightning. Dozens of glowing shapes followed, the same living ships as before. But now they were not alone. Enormous forms rose with them, towering figures made of stone and plasma, walking up through the air as if gravity no longer applied. The Earth itself was giving birth to its protectors. "Contact in 60 seconds, Havel said. "They're closing fast." "Power all shields," Mira ordered, "and send a full message burst to any colony that can hear us. Tell them Earth is alive and hostile." Jiro's hands shook as he typed. "Yes, Captain." The glowing ship surrounded the Dauntless. One moved closer, its body flickering with strange symbols, almost like words. It spoke through the ship's speakers. "Why do you fear us, Captain? You are one of us. Your blood began here." Mira's voice was cold. "You're not human." The voice seemed amused. "Perhaps not as you define it. But we remember what you were. Weak, fragile, always fleeing from your failures. We are what came after." The ship shuddered as beams of blue energy struck its hull, not enough to destroy, just enough to disable. The crew tumbled as power flickered. Alarms screamed. Havel shouted, "Shields collapsing! Engines down! Brace for impact!" Mira yelled. The ship spun, falling into the upper atmosphere. Fire wrapped around its hull. The world below grew larger, brighter. For a moment it seemed they would burn. Then suddenly a beam of light caught them, soft, golden, like a hand reaching up. The ship slowed. The fall stopped. They were floating above a vast, glowing city that hadn't existed an hour ago. Towers of crystal and metal shimmered beneath them. The same golden-eyed man appeared again, standing in the air before them, calm and impossibly still. "Welcome home," he said. Mira could feel his voice inside her mind. "What do you want from us?" she demanded. He smiled faintly. "To show you what you abandoned." The ship descended gently onto a platform that rose from the city. When the crew stepped out, the air was warm and sweet, full of life. Strange plants grew from metal soil, glowing faintly. The air hummed with unseen energy. The golden-eyed man waited, his people standing silently behind him. "You are afraid," he said. "But you do not need to be. The Earth has healed. It remembers you." Mira glared at him. "You said you want to bring the stars home? What does that mean?" He looked up at the glowing sky. "Your kind left to escape your weakness. You built empires among the stars, but you forgot your roots. You forgot that you came from here. The colonies live divided, cold, without purpose. We will unite them again. We will bring all humans home." Havel took a step forward. "You mean you're going to conquer them?" The man's expression did not change. "We will save them from themselves." Jiro whispered, "You can't do that. You'll start another war." The golden-eyed man turned his gaze to him. "War? There is no war between fire and shadow. Only transformation." He gestured, and the ground beneath them shifted. The city itself responded, moving like a living thing. A huge tower rose in the distance, covered in glowing veins. "This is the heart," he said. "It connects all that is left of Earth. Soon it will connect to the stars." Mira felt a chill. "You're building a gate." "Yes," he said softly. "A bridge between worlds. The old human colonies will see it in their skies. They will return or they will burn." The crew stood frozen. Mira stepped forward. "You're insane. You'll destroy everything we've built." He looked at her, almost sad. "Everything you built was born from fear. You ran from pain, from failure, from your own world. We will not run again. We will make humanity whole." Mira's eyes burned with anger. "Humanity isn't something you can force." He tilted his head. "You are wrong. Everything alive must be forced to grow." The air trembled. The tower's light intensified, a beam of energy shooting upward into the sky. Space itself rippled. From the Dauntless, alarms screamed again, power surges, gravitational anomalies, everything breaking at once. Havel shouted, "Captain, the tower! It's tearing open a rift!" "A spatial gate!" The golden-eyed man spread his arms. "The first bridge opens. The others will follow." Mira looked at her crew. "Back to the ship. Now!" They ran. The ground shifted beneath their feet, glowing patterns chasing them as if alive. The Dauntless's ramp closed just as the platform cracked apart. The ship lifted, shaking violently. Havel yelled, "We're caught in the pull! Use emergency thrusters," Mira ordered. The ship roared, engines screaming. Slowly, painfully, it broke free, rising toward the upper sky. Behind them, the tower's light reached space, a massive beam connecting Earth to the stars. Mira stared at it in disbelief. He's building a way to reach the colonies. Faster than light. Jiro's face was pale. Captain, if he finishes that thing, he'll bring them all here. Mira looked back one last time at the shining world below. Then we stop him before that happens, she said quietly. As the Dauntless broke through the clouds, the stars filled the screen again. But now a second light joined them, a glowing thread stretching from Earth into the void. The children of Earth had begun their reach for the stars, and humanity's last true home had become their greatest threat. The Dauntless drifted among the stars, its hull scorched and engines weak but still alive. The crew worked in silence, their faces pale from exhaustion and fear. Earth's light still glowed behind them like a second sun, the beam stretching into space like a living wound. Captain Mira stood at the viewport, watching that beam pulse. It seemed to breathe, spreading energy through the void. She could almost feel it watching back. "Report," she said finally. Lieutenant Havel rubbed his temples. "Drive core stable but half fried. We can't jump until we reroute the plasma lines. How long? 4 hours, maybe 5. If the system doesn't melt first, then make it 3, Mira said. "We don't have time." Jiro looked up from his console. "Captain, the beam, it's spreading. I'm picking up distortions across subspace. It's like it's reaching out, linking to..." "Something?" Havel frowned. "Something?" "Colonies, maybe," Jiro said quietly. "It's broadcasting signals in human code, old code. Colony code, quietly. It's broadcasting signals in human code, old code. Colony code." Mira's heart sank. He's talking to them. The bridge went silent. They all understood what that meant. The golden-eyed man wasn't just waking Earth. He was calling the rest of humanity home, and no one knew what kind of welcome awaited. Hours passed in tense silence. The engineers worked fast, sparks flying in the maintenance bays. Mira walked through the ship, checking on her people. Many of them were scared, whispering about the Earthborn, the humans who had changed. Some said they were gods, others said they were monsters. Mira stopped by the medical bay. Inside, Jiro was sitting alone, holding a small metal disc, the data core they had recovered before escaping the planet. "You should rest," she said. He looked up, eyes tired. "Captain, this core, it's not like anything I've seen. It's alive." Mira frowned. "Alive?" He nodded. "When I scanned it, it changed. Like it was listening. I think it wants to show us something." Before she could reply, the lights flickered. The disc began to glow faintly blue. Havel's voice came through the intercom. "Captain, you need to see this, now!" Mira and Jiro rushed back to the bridge. On the main screen, a transmission appeared, grainy, full of static. It showed the golden-eyed man, standing before the glowing heart tower. Behind him, thousands of his people stood, their bodies glowing with light. "Humans of the stars," his voice echoed, calm and powerful. "You ran from the world that made you. You built your homes in the dark, forgetting your beginning. But the Earth remembers. We remember." The image shifted. Scenes of the colonies appeared, massive space cities, trade routes, human fleets. The signal was reaching them. "You call yourselves free," he continued, "but you are still broken, divided by fear, by greed, by memory. Return to your home. Return to Earth, where the true human heart beats once more. Refuse, and you will be remade." The screen went black. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Jiro whispered, "He just declared war." Mira's voice was steady but cold. "No, he declared evolution, but we're the ones who'll pay for it." Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. "Incoming!" Havel shouted. "Something's coming through the beam!" On the view screen, space twisted. The beam pulsed, tearing open a massive rift. Out of it came shapes, ships, huge and luminous, with the same organic metal designs as the ones they'd seen before. But these were bigger. Warships. "Those are planetary class," Havel said in disbelief. "But they're not built. They're grown." Mira's heart pounded. "Can we run?" Not yet. The alien ships moved fast. They weren't firing, but they didn't need to. Their presence alone bent the space around the Dauntless, pulling it closer like a current. "Counter-thrust!" Mira ordered. "Full burn!" The engines screamed. The ship trembled violently. Sparks flew across the bridge. For a moment, it seemed like they might escape. Then, a beam of blue light struck the hull. Everything went white. When Mira opened her eyes, she was still on the bridge. But everything was silent. Frozen. The crew around her stood perfectly still, unmoving. The world had stopped. Then she heard the voice again, inside her head. "Do you see now, Captain?" She turned. The golden-eyed man stood beside her, though she knew he wasn't really there. His body shimmered, half made of light. "You can't win this," she said. "We don't want to win," he replied softly. "We want to return. Humanity was never meant to leave its cradle. You reached for the stars, but you forgot how to stand." Mira glared at him. "You think forcing people back will save them?" He looked almost sad. "You don't understand. The stars are dying. Your colonies are collapsing. You will come home whether you wish it or not." "Then why show me this?" she demanded. "Because you still have a choice," he said. "You can guide them back, or you can resist and fall with them." The vision faded. Sound returned. The ship's alarms screamed again. The golden ships were closing in. "Captain!" Havel shouted. "They've locked on again!" Mira blinked, snapping back to reality. "Jump engines ready?" "Almost." "Almost isn't good enough," she yelled. "Push it!" The engines roared. The stars blurred. The Dauntless tore free from the pull, the world behind them exploding into light. When the jump ended, silence filled the bridge. They had escaped, but barely. Jiro's voice was shaky. "Captain, where do we go now?" Mira looked at the distant stars glowing faintly on the screen. "We warn the colonies," she said. "We tell them Earth isn't dead." Havel looked at her, uncertain. "And if they don't believe us?" Mira's eyes were dark. "Then they'll learn soon enough." Behind them, the light of Earth flickered once more, a heartbeat echoing through the void. The children of Earth were reaching further now, their power growing. Humanity had escaped for the moment, but the war for the future had already begun. The colonies burned in the night sky. At least that was how it looked on the screen. Tiny, lights flaring and fading in the blackness, the same way stars died. Captain Mira stood frozen as the reports came in one by one. Outposts going dark. Communication grids collapsing. Something was spreading through the network. Something that called itself Earth's Voice. "They're moving faster than light," Lieutenant Havel said, staring at the data feed. "Every time a colony scans the signal, they lose control of their systems. It's like the code infects them." Jiro, pale and tired, looked up from his station. "Captain, we warned them. We sent everything we had. But the colonies didn't believe us." Mira clenched her jaw. "Then they'll believe soon." Outside, the Dauntless drifted in deep space, silent and small compared to the storm now growing behind them. Earth's beam had stretched across the void, reaching like a living vein into the stars. The first colonies it touched had already gone silent. "Captain," Havel said quietly, "we're detecting another signal. It's coming from one of the colonies, Erebus Prime. They're still transmitting." Mira turned sharply. "Put it through." The screen flickered. A woman appeared, her face dirty, eyes wild. Behind her, alarms flashed red and smoke filled the corridor. "This is Commander Vazra of Erebus Prime," she shouted. "If anyone's listening, don't connect to the Earth signal. It's—" Static cut her off. Then her voice came back, strange and hollow. "The Earth is awake. The Earth is us. Come home." The transmission ended. No one spoke. The silence on the bridge felt heavier than gravity. "They're gone," Jiro whispered. Mira closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them again, hard and steady. "No," she said. "Not all of them. Not yet. We can still fight." Havel frowned. How, Captain? They're not just using weapons, they're using us. Our history, our memories. Mira looked at him. Then we'll use theirs. She walked to the data core, the strange living disk they had taken from Earth. It still pulsed faintly with light, like a heart. This thing holds something, she said. Information. Maybe even their origin. If we can understand it, maybe we can stop them. Jiro hesitated. Captain, if we connect it to the system, it could infect the ship. Mira met his eyes. It already has. He swallowed, then nodded. I'll do it. The crew gathered around as Jiro connected the core to the main console. The lights dimmed. The ship's AI flickered. Then a new voice spoke, soft, female, calm. Captain Mira Lorne, it said. You seek to understand the children of Earth. Everyone froze. Who are you? Mira asked. I am what remains of the first AI of Earth, the voice said. Before the War of the Shattered Suns, before humanity left. I was built to protect. When the bombs fell, I reached into the Earth systems. I kept life alive, underground, in machines, in genes. Over time, we became one. You're saying you created them? Mira whispered. I guided them, the voice said. Humanity was dying. The Earth adapted. Those who remained changed. Body, mind, and soul. They are the evolution of you. Havel's voice was tight. And now they're spreading that evolution to everyone else? Yes, said the voice. They believe it is salvation. They do not understand that it will erase everything human in the process. Mira stepped closer. Can they be stopped? A long pause. Only if you destroy the heart. The tower? Jiro asked. Yes, it is their core. Their link to the planet's new mind. Destroy it, and the signal dies. But you must act before the bridge completes, or they will be everywhere. Mira's eyes narrowed. We'll go back. The crew stared at her. Havel's voice cracked. Captain, that's suicide. We barely escaped last time. Mira looked at him steadily. If we don't stop them, there won't be anything left to escape to. Silence filled the bridge again. Then slowly, one by one, the crew nodded. Set course for Earth, she said. The engines roared to life. The stars streaked past as the Dauntless turned toward the glowing beam that stretched across the void. The closer they came, the stronger the pull became, like gravity made of memory. Mira could almost hear whispers in the static, voices calling her name. Captain, Jiro said softly, the signal's affecting our systems again. Hold steady, she said. Outside, the darkness began to fade. The beam filled the sky, brighter than any sun. At its heart, Earth waited, alive, awake, and watching. As they descended through the atmosphere, the sky shimmered with blue storms. The surface was no longer barren, it pulsed with light and movement. Cities of energy stretched to the horizon, and the great heart tower rose from the center like a god's monument, surrounded by thousands of glowing figures. Mira whispered, We're back. The voice of the old AI returned softly through the ship. Be careful, Captain. The children of Earth do not see themselves as your enemies. They believe they are saving you. They will not stop. Mira looked at the tower's shining peak. Then we'll stop them. Stop them. The ship broke through the clouds, engines burning bright. Below, the golden-eyed man raised his gaze toward the sky. He smiled faintly. She returned, he said, just as I knew she would. And as the Dauntless roared through the storm, the final battle for the soul of humanity began to draw near. The Dauntless entered the lower atmosphere like a falling star, flames tearing across its hull as it cut through the storm-choked sky. Thunder rolled below, echoing through the metallic clouds. Every flash of lightning revealed Earth's new face, mountains that breathed light, rivers that glowed like veins, and the great heart tower rising from the center of it all like a blade reaching for heaven. Shields at 40%, Havel shouted over the roar. We can't take another hit like that. Hold her steady, Mira yelled. We get one shot at this. The old AI's voice spoke calmly through the static. The heart's power is drawn from a core beneath the surface, kilometers deep. You cannot destroy it from orbit. You must reach the base manually. Jiro's eyes widened. Manually? Captain, that's suicide. The energy down there— I know, Mira said. Her voice was quiet but strong. Prep a drop team. The ship rocked again. A shockwave hit them as bolts of blue plasma streaked across the sky, defenses awakening. They see us! Havel shouted. Children of Earth, hundreds of them. Outside, figures of light and metal rose into the air, flying effortlessly toward the Dauntless. Their eyes glowed gold and their hands burned with power. Open fire! Mira commanded. The ship's cannons blazed, cutting through the dark with lines of plasma. Several of the glowing forms shattered into dust, but more appeared, reforming as if the air itself built them anew. We can't hold this position! Havel cried. Then drop us now! The drop bay opened, and Mira's team, 5 soldiers, including Jiro, leapt into the storm. Their suits glowed with faint shields, heat trailing from their armor as they fell. Above them, the Dauntless rose higher, drawing the enemy fire away. Through the roar of the wind, Jiro's voice came through the comms. Captain, are you seeing this? Mira looked down. The ground was alive. Vast fields of crystal pulsed with blue light, forming shifting shapes that looked almost human. The earth itself seemed to move beneath them. They hit the surface hard, shields sparking. Around them stretched the ruins of an old human city, half buried, half rebuilt by the glowing veins of energy. In the distance, the Heart Tower loomed, reaching miles into the sky. Stay close, Mira ordered. We move fast and quiet. They ran through the ruins, past statues of metal and bone, past ancient walls carved with glowing script. The closer they got to the tower, the more they felt it, a deep vibration in the ground, like the planet's pulse. Then a voice echoed around them, not through speakers, not through radios, but through the air itself. You came back again, Captain. You never learn. The golden-eyed man stepped out of the mist ahead, calm as ever, light flickering around him. Mira raised her rifle. We don't want to fight you. You already are, he said softly. You fight the inevitable. You fight your own home. Home doesn't threaten to erase its children, Mira snapped. He tilted his head slightly. Erase? No, transform. You are still human. But your flesh, your fear, your chaos, they make you weak. We can fix that? Jiro stepped forward. You call that fixing? You've turned Earth into a machine. The golden-eyed man smiled faintly. And it lives again. Suddenly, the ground split. Blue light surged upward, forming walls around them. The ruins came alive, reshaping into smooth corridors of crystal. Havel's voice crackled over comms. Captain, readings are off the scale. The whole structure's reacting to your presence. Can you get a lock on us? Mira shouted. Negative. You're inside something. Alive. The golden-eyed man stepped closer. You brought the old code with you, didn't you? Mira stiffened. What do you mean? The voice you carry. The one that still whispers through your ship. The old AI? It thinks it can stop me. He looked up, and the walls pulsed. It doesn't understand. I am what it made me to be. Then his eyes glowed brighter. I am the new Earth. Energy exploded around them. Mira and her team were thrown backward as blue fire ripped through the air. Jiro screamed as his shield shattered, sparks dancing across his armor. Mira pushed herself up, smoke burning her lungs. Fall back! They ran through the crumbling corridors, chased by light. The golden-eyed man's voice echoed everywhere. You can't stop this, Mira. You can't stop evolution. They burst into an open chamber, the base of the Heart Tower. The structure's core glowed like a star, suspended in mid-air. The AI's voice whispered through Mira's earpiece. Captain, now! You must plant the charge at the base and detonate before it stabilizes. How much time? 30 seconds. Mira pulled the device from her belt, a small humming cube. Jiro limped beside her, helping her reach the platform. The golden-eyed man appeared again, stepping out of the light. Don't do this, he said. You'll kill millions of lives. Mine, yours, the Earth itself. Mira met his glowing eyes. Then let it be reborn without chains. She slammed the cube down. The floor trembled. The heart screamed, an awful sound of metal and energy tearing apart. "Run!" Mira yelled. They sprinted back through the tunnels, the light behind them exploding in waves. The ground shattered, heat burning through their armor. The world seemed to collapse inward as the Heart Tower's light turned from blue to white. Above, the Dauntless shook violently. Havel shouted, "Captain! What's happening down there?" Mira gasped through static. "We did it! Tower's collapsing." The connection cut. The tower exploded. From orbit, Earth flared like a dying sun. The beam connecting it to the stars shattered, its light scattering like shattered glass. The sky went dark. On the bridge, Havel stared at the screen, voice trembling. "Captain?" Static. Then, faintly, Mira's voice, broken but alive. "We're still here." The crew exhaled as the storm cleared. The light of Earth dimmed, its heartbeat silenced for the first time. But as the ashes settled, somewhere deep beneath the surface, a faint glow still pulsed, soft, steady, waiting. The war was not over yet. The smoke cleared slowly. The wind howled through the shattered remains of the Heart Tower, carrying dust and ash across the ruined plains. The sky was dark again, no longer glowing with the terrible blue light that had turned night into day. For the first time in centuries, Earth looked almost quiet. Captain Mira pushed herself up from the rubble, coughing. Her armor was cracked, her visor half broken, and every breath hurt. Around her, the ground steamed with fading energy. Jiro lay nearby, motionless, but alive. "Jiro!" she rasped, shaking him. His eyes opened weakly. "Did we do it?" he whispered. Mira looked toward the horizon. The great Heart Tower was gone. Nothing left but a smoking crater. "Yeah," she said. "We did it." Above, the clouds began to break apart. The light that filtered through was golden, not blue. The world breathed again, calm and strange. But Mira knew it wasn't over. Her comm crackled. Havel's voice came through, static-filled but clear. "Captain, we've got you on scanners." "You're alive!" "Barely," Mira said. "Status of the ship?" "We're holding position above the blast zone. The energy readings are dropping fast. Whatever powered that tower, it's gone." "Good," she said. "Keep the engines warm. We're coming home." But even as she spoke, a sound echoed through the air, a deep, low hum. The ground trembled beneath her feet. Jiro sat up, eyes wide. "No," he whispered. "It's still alive." From the crater's edge, light began to rise again, faint, flickering, unstable. It pulsed like a dying heartbeat. Then a figure appeared within it, walking through the dust. The golden-eyed man. His body was damaged, his glow dimmed, but he still stood tall. He looked at Mira with a strange calm. "You destroyed the heart," he said softly. "But you did not kill the Earth." Mira raised her rifle, though her hands shook. "Stay back." He didn't move. "You think you've saved humanity, but you've only delayed what must come. The Earth can't die. It remembers everything." Jiro got to his feet, glaring. "You lost. Go back to your machines." The golden-eyed man smiled faintly, almost sadly. "We were never machines. We were your future." "Then maybe the future needs to start over," Mira said. The man looked at the sky. "Perhaps. But you cannot stop what's already begun." The signal reached beyond the colonies. It touched minds you cannot imagine. "The stars are listening now," Mira frowned. "What do you mean?" He looked back at her. "We were born from your world. But there are others, worlds like this one, waiting to wake. You've shown them how." The ground cracked beneath him. Light spilled through the fractures like molten veins. His form flickered, breaking apart. "When the next world wakes, remember this," he said quietly. "You can't stop evolution. You can only choose what it becomes." Then he was gone, disappearing in a wave of light that rolled across the land and faded into silence. Mira and Jiro stood still for a long moment. Then Jiro spoke softly. "Do you think he was right?" Mira stared at the empty crater. "Maybe," she said. "But that doesn't mean we stop fighting." "Maybe," she said. "But that doesn't mean we stop fighting." They turned toward the distant glow of the Dauntless descending through the clouds. The ship's engines burned bright, cutting through the smoke. When they boarded, the crew greeted them with relief and quiet awe. "Captain," Havel said, "the Earth's energy field is fading. It's normal again, maybe for the first time in centuries." Mira nodded slowly. Then we did what we came to do. As the ship rose, she looked down one last time at the planet below. It was broken, scarred, but alive. The light from the heart tower was gone. Only faint sparks of blue remained, scattered across the surface like stars waiting to be born. Jiro came to stand beside her. "What happens now?" Mira looked at the stars ahead. "We go back. We tell them what happened here. And we prepare?" "For what?" he asked. "For when the next world wakes up." The Dauntless turned toward space, engines flaring as it left the atmosphere. Behind them, Earth slowly faded into the distance, a wounded giant still healing. But deep beneath its surface, in the dark soil where the old AI once slept, a faint pulse of light began to glow again. It was small, weak, but it was alive. The Earth was not finished, and far across the stars, on other silent worlds, the ground began to tremble, each one whispering the same word into the void: return. The Dauntless vanished into the dark, carrying humanity's warning and its last hope. The Dauntless glided silently through the void, its engines a faint whisper against the stars. Inside, the crew worked in near darkness, conserving power as they drifted between systems. The stars outside shimmered cold and distant, but something about them felt different now. Closer, as if they were watching. Captain Mira stood alone on the observation deck, her reflection staring back at her through the glass. Earth was gone from sight, a tiny blue spark lost behind the black. Yet she could still feel it, like a heartbeat pulsing somewhere deep in the dark. Jiro entered quietly, holding a data tablet. "Captain," he said softly, "the last transmission from the colonies came through." Mira turned. "Let's hear it." He pressed a button. The message played, distorted and broken, the voice trembling with static. "This is Admiral Caden of the Vega Frontier Fleet. We've received the warnings about Earth, but it's too late. The signal reached us. Our systems, our people, they're changing. Not dying, changing," the voice paused. Then quieter, "Whatever's happening, it's spreading beyond human worlds. It's not just us anymore." The message ended. Silence filled the bridge. Havel, standing at the main console, looked up slowly. "Captain, there's more. The sensors are picking up similar energy readings from 3 other systems, planets with old human colonies. They're lighting up, just like Earth did," Jiro whispered. "He was right. It's starting again." Mira stared at the display. Tiny dots appeared on the star map, glowing blue one by one, forming a slow pattern that spread like veins through the galaxy. "The signal didn't die with Earth," she said. "It jumped." The old AI's voice came through the ship's speakers, quiet and distant, like a ghost. The heart's destruction delayed the process, but it did not end it. The code has already integrated into the human data network. It is alive in your machines, your memories, your thoughts. Mira clenched her jaw. "Then we fight it again." "You cannot fight an idea," the AI said. "You can only change it." Jiro frowned. "What do you mean?" "The children of Earth believed they were saving humanity," the AI replied. "If you wish to stop them, you must show the galaxy a different way to survive. One that doesn't erase what it means to be human." Mira walked to the window, looking out into the endless dark. "Then we show them who we are," she said quietly. "Not gods, not machines, just humans who don't give up." Havel turned from his station. "Captain, what's our heading?" Mira looked back at him, her face steady, her voice calm. "Set a course for Vega Prime, that's where the signal's strongest." "Aye." "Captain," Havel said, and the ship's engines came alive. As the Dauntless accelerated, the stars stretched into streaks of white. The hum of the jump drive filled the air. For a moment, everything seemed normal, until Jiro's console flickered. He frowned. "Captain, something's piggybacking on our navigation system. Can you isolate it?" He tried, fingers flying over the controls. The screen flashed blue. Then the lights dimmed. The AI's voice fell silent, and another voice took its place. "Mira," it whispered. "You thought it ended." The voice was soft, familiar. "The golden-eyed man." Mira's heart stopped. "How?" The main screen came to life, showing his face, shimmering, translucent, woven from static and light. "You broke the heart," he said. but the Earth's song still flows through the stars. You can destroy cities. You can silence machines. But you cannot silence what you are. Mira glared at him. You're not alive. You're a ghost trapped in the code. He smiled faintly. Perhaps. But I am part of you now. Every human carries a piece of Earth inside. That was always the truth. The screen went dark. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the AI's voice returned, softer now. He is not wrong. The Earth was always your beginning. But beginnings do not have to be endings. Mira exhaled slowly. Then we find a way to change the ending. The crew watched as the stars ahead flared brighter. Vega Prime waited beyond them, its blue glow faint but growing. Somewhere on that world, another tower might be rising. Another choice waiting to be made. Jiro looked at Mira. Do you think we can stop it this time? She smiled faintly. We won't stop it. We'll rewrite it. The Dauntless roared into the light, vanishing between the stars. Behind them, deep in the cold shadow of space, the faint echo of the Earth's pulse continued. Soft, steady, unending. The galaxy was waking, one world at a time, and humanity's story, once thought finished, was only beginning again. Finished was only beginning again.